This is Sportish.
Do it better.
This is Sportish. This is Sportish. This is Sportish. This is Sportish.
This is Sportish here on the For the Fans Network, and let us be the first to wish you a very Merry Christmas Eve. I'm Geoff Brault. He's Dr. Keith Strudler, runs the School of Communication and Media at Montclair State University. Our producer is Mike Wallace. You'll actually see him a little bit later. Mike Wallace will be here, as will our guest of the year. We can't tell you exactly who that is yet. Judges are still tabulating votes, but we will be joined a little bit later in this hour by our guest of the year. And Keith, they are going to have a great honor, as they will participate in the first ever Sportish White Elephant Gift Exchange.
Now, as you know, there were a lot of people that were vying for this spot, despite the fact that after a certain number of episodes, I just got too lazy to continue to book guests. So it made it a little bit easier for those that got in on the front end of Sportish. But I think the person you're going to see later in this episode will bring a smile to your face. I think it's someone you're going to know. We're not going to have to introduce.
If you've been a fan of Sportish from way back, I'm talking episodes in the teens, from the middle of quarantine, you're going to be very pleasantly surprised when you're our guest of the year. And you might be asking yourself right now, is our guest of the year the best guest we had this year, or the only guest this year that said yes to being on the Sportish White Elephant Gift Exchange? To be determined.
You'd be surprised at how many commitments people seem to have during a lockdown 3 days from the holidays. I'm surprised that so many people have so much to do. But look, the White Elephant is a wonderful tradition. I think no one does it better than Sportish, obviously. I'm very excited. I put a lot of thought and time and effort into my gift. I think what I have brought to the table and put under my menorah will be a welcome addition to whomever ends up getting this. And I don't want to brag. I think mine's going to be the subject of several steals. That's my guess.
So I've put absolutely no effort into mine. In fact, mine came from the shelf behind me. Now, it's always been out of frame, but my gift has been from the shelf behind me, which means it's already better than your gift because it's been on television.
My gift, no. I mean, trust me. You're going to want this gift so much. You are going to absolutely, and if you don't get it, you're going to ask me if I can get you another. That's how much you're going to want this.
With the $10 limit, it is important to note the Sportish White Elephant Gift Exchange does come with a strict $10 limit.
Yeah. So those of you that followed us from way back from our old show, The Classroom, may have remembered one of the many times that Geoff decided not to show up for the broadcast. Right. John Fornaro and Avery Decker and I had a white elephant. It was just the three of us. And there was John and Avery nearly came to blows over a Darth Vader gumball machine that I bought.
Okay. Cool. Apologies to every single person watching who has no idea what any of that meant. I've always been told that the best way to build an audience, right? The best way is to tell stories that no one can relate to, involving people that no one's ever met, about things that they don't care about at all. So I think you hit all three.
I'm guessing a lot of our listeners, and a lot of our listeners and followers might actually be people that know Avery Decker. Sadly,
to be 100% honest, possibly over half our audience could be Avery Decker and John Fornaro.
Hey, it's great to see you guys. Let's catch up in the new year. So, look, you know what I say when the magic of television: laugh and let the audience laugh along with you.
If you're watching or listening to this right now, whether you're on For the Fans Network, whether you're on wherever your podcasts are served, and you are not Avery Decker or John Fornaro, please let us know about it. Let us know. Send us a tweet. All the information's on the screen. You can find our emails. They're accessible. Like the Google box will work for you.
I'm one of the most public figures I literally throw myself at so people might find me. I'm one of, some people value their privacy. I'm the complete opposite. The absolute. I want people to bother me at all times. I want people to send me emails. So please, sometimes we feel like we're alone in this universe, particularly during quarantine. So we'd love, our pseudo producer, Mike Wallace, who you'll see in a little while, has put, kindly has done one thing for us and put our Twitter handle up there. And so go ahead and give us a like, give us a follow, send us a note, force us to react. We'd be happy to have a one-to-one, one-to-many exchange with you.
And I got to tell you, unlike other shows, right, that when you write in and nothing happens, if you write into Sportish, there is, I'm going to say, a 40% chance that we'll put you on an episode. Like, the bar to clear to get on this show is on the floor.
Well, you're going to know that when you see who our guest of the year is. That's how low the bar actually is.
So, I mean, if you needed more reason to get in touch and tell us why you're watching this program, you could be on it. Like, and this isn't like win some contest, like a Make-A-Wish type of situation. No. We'll just put you on.
By the way, I mean, we're going to do a year-end wrap, obviously, the best. What's the biggest story of the year in sports? 2020. I think it was the Lakers won the NBA Finals. But we've had a pretty good year. We launched the show. We vanquished the robots. I mean, this has been a pretty good year for us. I look, there's going to be a lot to gloat about next week. So stay tuned for that.
And do stay tuned for the White Elephant Gift Exchange. It would mean an awful lot to Keith. 50% of the hosts of this show are tremendously excited to do it. So hang out with us for that. But first, there is some sports news that we need to talk about. We started this show when the coronavirus pandemic shut down all of sports. In a few minutes, I do want to get into when athletes should be vaccinated as we're starting to roll out the vaccine worldwide. After the White Elephant Gift Exchange, we're going to talk about the New York Jets, who they won a game, which you're supposed to do in sports. Just don't ask any of their fans. But I want to start with the FBS playoffs. Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame. I'm not arguing that those are the four best teams in college football. They are. I think they're the four best teams in college football. That said, it's a boring playoff to me.
Yeah.
It's a boring playoff to me. It's the same teams we always get. How about this? Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State. At least two of those three teams have been in every single playoff. It's boring.
Yeah. So when you have people inside college football begging you to go back to the FBS, you have a problem.
Yeah,
right.
The BCS.
The BCS. You have a problem. This thing that allegedly was destroying the sport of college football. Now we're just longing for the days. So look, I'm not sure I agree with you that those are the four best teams. I think you can get an argument out of, if we're going to get really sporty here, I think you can get an argument out of Oklahoma. I think you can get an argument out of Texas A&M. I think even you can make an argument that Texas A&M earned it on the field a little bit. I would say that the SEC, although they played in a weaker, their schedule. Look, this whole thing is crazy land because there's no such thing as a balanced schedule this year, right?
Sure. Yes.
So how can you compare Ohio State to anyone at this point?
It's unfair to judge this year. It's unfair to judge on this year.
Yeah. But I will say, I think you're right. Like when we had this conversation several weeks ago, and I think it was right after Clemson lost. And I was like, well, we're not going to see Clemson in the final. Like I thought they were kind of done. They'd had a rough game against North Carolina. Obviously they lost to Notre Dame. They were, their quarterback was injured. I was like, oh, finally, we won't see the same thing. Well, lo and behold, we are going to see Clemson, Alabama in the finals. And there's no argument that there's two better teams, right? And so I think part of the problem is, and this is where we're going to have to kind of understand, I think this is where college basketball kind of gets it right. And college football, and they're different sports. We know that.
Yeah.
College basketball doesn't ever want to proclaim that they're awarding the national championship to the best team in college basketball. They're awarding it to the team that somehow runs through the gauntlet of the NCAA finals. A lot of times it is the best team. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times the best team loses in the second round on a fluke and a bad matchup. College football, because of the nature of the sport and kind of, just the way they've designed the playoffs, they've decided they do want to see the best four teams. And because of that, you're very likely to end up with four juggernauts, generally speaking, because of the recruiting advantages that teams like Alabama and Clemson have at this point. You're very likely to see those same two teams every year because it's almost impossible at this point, unless they expand the playoff, they turn it into something where conference champions automatic. I mean, who doesn't? Who, when they were announcing number 4, unless you literally went to Notre Dame or Texas A&M or maybe Oklahoma at that, who didn't want to see Cincinnati? Like who? Like, right? Who didn't want to see Cincinnati there?
Yes.
So, and it does, like, you start to talk about kind of this cartel and things that are not working. This is no longer a system where most teams have even the chance to get into the college football playoffs. So over half of the teams that play college football at this point have zero chance of making it, no matter what they do. They can win every single game. They are not going to make it to the college football playoffs. They have that's not the case in college basketball at all.
Correct.
Every team has a pathway to the national championship. So in essence, what really has happened, we talked about, the Knight Commission, the Knight Report, which basically said, hey, it's time for big time Power 5 college football to split away from the pack. They already have. What just happened when they picked those four teams is an affirmation that it's already happened. The rest of the pack, those other conference, the other 5, they're not part of the same division anymore, just by the fact that they can't get into the playoffs. So I think in many ways, this is just kind of, it just affirms what the Knight Report basically said.
I agree. My big issue with it is it's boring for the vast majority of fans. I think that where the playoffs and the committee succeed is in protecting the blue bloods, right? And making sure that they are putting forth the matchups that will allow their SEC and ACC, Pac-12 in a regular year, and Big Ten thoroughbreds the opportunity to compete for a national championship. What that locks out is the enjoyment of anyone who is not a fan of the 4 teams that are in the playoff. Why do people want to see Cincinnati in? Because it's a chance of an upset. Why do people watch the first round of the NCAA tournament? Because of the chance of an upset. And when you strip that from people and you don't give Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati and UCF back in the day or San Jose State this year, when you don't even give them a chance, and I'm not talking about even give them a chance on the selection day, you don't give them a chance from the beginning of the season on, it shuts off the regular fan, right? And I'm talking about someone like me who doesn't have a college football rooting interest. I'm from the Northeast where college football isn't a big deal. I did not go to any major college football school. I am not a fan of any FBS team, right? I'm all for watching good, entertaining football with great, compelling storylines, but the way this playoff is set up, it doesn't give me that.
Yeah, I agree. And look, as a fan of of one of the blue bloods in college sports, I'm getting bored of it too, because it's getting to the point where, I mean, look, we knew we didn't have a shot. Even Florida knew they didn't have a shot at the playoff. I mean, and even if we won that game, like this was where it really starts to get difficult. So again, I put myself through it. I watched the game again. But I felt I kind of convinced myself the season was over anyway. So and it looked, by the way, Alabama looked like just like a juggernaut rolling through in the first half. There are a couple touchdowns where you're like, well, that's not good. And then Florida found a way. Florida played a superb game. I think about as good as you can ask from a Florida team. And even if we won that game, we weren't going to, we would have won the SEC and we weren't going to play for a national championship in a system that allegedly is a playoff. I think I agree. I think I'll be interested to look, ratings are kind of they're a red herring this year in sports. So who knows what this is going to mean? So it's going to be impossible to really say, but I would say, I think it's, if you think the pathway to kind of expanding the reach and power, and a lot of people have said that college football was an undervalued property for years, people in the media business, right? They should, but I will tell you, if you think that the way to kind of leverage that is to make sure that 2 teams from the rural South continue to play for a national championship every year, I mean, you tell me how you're going to track the metropolitan areas and the Northeast and the far. I mean, do you know that Oregon played USC for a Pac-12 and no one cared? Like literally.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that's because Oregon didn't belong in the game that they won, and because it's the COVID year and
Pac-12 champions. They're Pac-12 champions.
Their ring still counts, and they do get to hang a banner. Look, you have to expand these playoffs. Yeah. I think the number one argument you need to dismiss is, well, we can't add weeks to the season. Yeah, we can. Let's add some weeks to the season. I argue for 2 of them. Let's add 2 weeks to the season. This is how I would structure the playoffs. I would bring back a BCS type rating system, not for individual teams, but for individual conferences. I want a rating system to rank for me 1 to 10 the conferences at the FBS level.
Very RPI-like, very RPI-like.
RPI-like, exactly right. Yeah. If you are the conference champion, and conferences, go ahead and determine this, whatever the heck you want. If you are the conference champion of the top 6 conferences, you're in the playoffs. If you are the conference champion of conference 7 through 10, 7 plays 10.
Look, Andrew Yang, there's not, do you want to tell me that the Pac-12 is going to be like, sure, we're okay. Hey, so what if the American Athletic Conference gets ahead of us one year? Like, they're not going to, the Power 5 conferences will not agree to a system that does not ensure that their five champions are at the front of the line. That's a given. If their 5 champions are at the front of the line, then they're at the front of the line. I'm just saying that's going to be negotiated on the front end of this deal. But all right. But so let's look. How many teams do you think it should be in the playoffs?
10.
8 or 12?
10.
That's a weird number.
No, it isn't. 4 play in.
So you're going
10. There's 10 conferences, 10 teams.
Why don't you go to 12 at that point? Because you're doing the same number of weeks.
Why don't you go to 16?
Well, if you know
why you go to 10? Because it's 1 representative per Power 5 conference. It eliminates all this BS with at-larges and committees and eye tests and whatever. Every conference, 1 representative.
No, because yes. I want a second team from the SEC if they're that good.
Well, you don't get one.
Well, then the playoffs
why do you get
sucks.
one?
Because they're better.
Why do you get one?
Because the same reason the ACC gets 10 teams in the NCAA
if they're
tournament.
Better, why don't they win their championship game?
All right, so okay, then let's only let Duke into the NCAA tournament. Screw you, North Carolina. I mean, you're not using the same logic. You have to use the same logic. Here's what I think. And we got to move on because I know we got a white elephant coming, and you're trying to do a sports show, and we got to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, which is cyclists getting the vaccine. You know, like on the list of topics. So I think there should be to start. It should be 8 teams. Your Power 5. You get your best of the other conferences gets an automatic bid, and then you pick 2 at large. Done. I mean, this is simple. We don't have to go the Geoff Brault method.
Simple. It's not simple. There's nothing simple about that.
I just said it. It's simple.
You're drawing an arbitrary line, just like we've drawn an arbitrary line at 4. You're drawing it at 8. So now instead of complaining about who's 5, people are going to complain about who's 9.
Yeah, but we would have guaranteed a non-Power 5 team got in there, and we would have guaranteed all the conference champions got in there. Then you know what? If Alabama happens to have slipped up somewhere, Clemson slips up, they can still get in. Finn, story ends. Let's move on.
I don't want them in if they slipped up somewhere. Playoffs are for champions. Playoffs are for champions. Play your way in. Right, earn it.
Fine. Playoffs for champions. Tricks are for kids. Let's talk about the vaccine.
So if there's one thing that Keith Strudler wants more than oppressing the little guy, and that's true in both the world and in college football, if there's one thing he wants more, it is the COVID vaccine.
Oh my God. Yeah. I want it. I can feel it. I get like the phantom pains, like I've already had it every morning I wake up.
There are a group of people that might be jumping to the front of the line. Mm-hmm. And those people may be athletes.
Yes.
There was an article in the Wall Street Journal, Keith, that said that the cycling team from the United Arab Emirates that won the Tour de France, featuring my personal favorite cyclist, Tadej Pogacar.
You're welcome to your loyal listener. The joke came full circle.
They might be getting the vaccine in the very near future here because the United Arab Emirates is apparently well ahead of the rest of the world in distributing this vaccine to their people. They might be getting it to some athletes, Keith. How do you feel about athletes receiving the vaccine before a large number of first responders and older folks in the world?
So, I mean, look, since I'm not one of those athletes, although, you know, if we're going to give this to elite athletes, may I suggest the Allendale 5K champion?
I love, by the way, that it says at the bottom of it, it doesn't say champion, it says top male.
Sorry. We're closing the loop on a lot of jokes today.
End of the year, new jokes. We got to finish them off strong.
So, look, here's the thing. People get really, really angry about, I want to say things that don't make a difference. But so there will be, right? So at some point, there are going to be some people that get the vaccine and they're going to say, what? But firemen, well, the fact that 12 players, and I mean this, I'm not saying this is fair or unfair, but the fact that 12 players for the Lakers may have gotten a shot isn't going to change the calculus for the hundreds of millions of Americans that need this shot, right? And so sometimes they're like, that should have gone to a pharmacist. That should have gone, right? And that you can argue that, but we also have to realize we're dealing in this mass of humanity, and so people need to stop worrying about what are rounding errors, essentially, right? Because in the essence, whether you vaccinate, the team that won the Tour de France or the NBA, even, which is a few hundred people, it's not gonna actually change the calculus. These large decisions on what's Group 1A, what's Group 1B, are we doing K through 12 teachers? Are we those are the big decisions that are going to change kind of how we kind of handle this as a country. And those are the ones that we should be focused on. I understand people are going to get really uptight about that. We shouldn't care that much about sports. Those athletes shouldn't get it. If you're arguing that because of representational value, I guess you can do that. If you're arguing that because you think it makes a difference, you need to take a math class, because it doesn't, right? These are that it's just, we sometimes get really wrapped up on this. Now, do we think that this is something that representationally is unfair? Like, is that the message?
That's how I was going to argue it. I was going to argue
right?
it representationally.
So here's the thing. I'm not going to suggest that, an NBA athlete is as important as a firefighter, particularly in the time of COVID, as an EMT, as a frontline doctor. Like, honestly, even as someone that's managing a Walmart that's making sure that stores can get open so we can get essential supplies. Like, I understand that. We're not stupid, right? And we understand in the end, like, what's going to keep us alive and what isn't. Now, that said, we've made decisions about that as a society when we look at how much we pay people. So sometimes we talk out of two sides of our mouth, right? Yeah. If those NBA players aren't so valuable, and we like to make that argument, why are they making 28, 30, $50 million a year? Like, we have spoken with our pocketbook quite a bit, right? And we don't, no one's calling their congressperson every day saying, we need to pay these teachers like professional athletes. We don't, right? And so we don't speak with our pocketbook, right? But I understand this probably would even be offensive to some people. If this allows us to have professional sport in a way that there's something valuable to society to have entertainment, right? I mean, just like we crave new films, movies, streaming media, I don't think it's an awful thing to allow for our elite and professional sport to be able to do it safely, right? And I'm not saying we're going to have to vaccinate everyone. I think where you start to lose me if you vaccinate all of them and then you start letting all your fans in, because then you don't really care about safety. If we're doing this so that professional athletes can safely return to their sport, I happen to believe, look, I mean, we both like sport a lot. We kind of share a little bit, like, there is some value to having sport during a time of crisis. And I think it's done a decent amount for America. People can argue whether it's been done correctly, whether we should be doing it. I do think there's been value to the NBA and the NFL and college sports and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have a huge problem with it. I understand why people do.
Sports give people joy. Something else that gives people joy is receiving presents. And that is what we, Keith, myself, Mike Wallace, and our guest of the year are going to do right now, because it's time for the first ever, dare I say first inaugural, Sportish White Elephant Gift Exchange. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Sportish Guest of the Year in 2020, Jay Friedman has joined us for the White Elephant Gift Exchange. Jay, host of the Pain Cave podcast. You may remember him from such illustrious Sportish episodes as episode 12. Welcome back to the show, and congratulations on what I have to imagine is your life's highest honor.
It is a thrill to be back on the show. It is an honor. I will say it. I've had a good life. I've had a good run, and this is the apex. This is as high as it gets for me. Thank you guys. Thank you to all the viewers. Thank you to everyone who voted. This is wonderful.
Well, to be fair, there weren't a lot of voters. And I also, as long as we're going to go behind the paywall here, because
and to be fair, there weren't a lot of guests either. So there you go.
I mean, you are, yes, you are the guest of the year. Our producer, there were supposed to be somewhere around 6 people on this White Elephant. That felt like a nice round round number for us. Our producer informed us, Michael Wallace, and producer in title only. Let's be clear.
And by the way, informed us minutes ago. You might remember from 3 minutes ago when I said coming up next, Keith, Geoff, our producer, Mike Wallace, and our guest of the year will be doing the White Elephant Gift Exchange. In between the time I uttered that sentence and we cut to Jay, Mike decided that he's not joining us. He said, I'm not doing that. I don't want any part of this.
Okay.
I'm busy.
I'm Phil, but I'm up to the task. I'm ready.
Well, Jim Cotter, as some of you know, is our former esoteric sports expert, informed me he was unable to procure a gift. And by the way, Michael Wallace is our producer, like a guy who pumps gas is an auto mechanic or an engineer. Like, it's just not. Now I just insulted everyone for no reason. And that guy, they're going to get, and Jason's Jay in his spare time is a doctor. They're going to get the vaccine before me. Before we continue, Jay, have you gotten the vaccine yet?
It's funny that you asked, because I had a very stressful day trying to procure myself an appointment to get the vaccine. I do not have it yet, but I am scheduled tomorrow. And actually, I think by the time that the viewers see this, I will be vaccinated. So,
well, Jay Friedman, I just wanted to let you know, I hate you. I hate you.
Right back at you.
This is a bad time to mention this. And as a doctor, I do need you to dissuade Keith of this notion. The reason he asked that, and he wanted to know when you're getting it, is because he is right now making plans to get in his car, drive up here to the Hudson Valley, and as soon as you get that shot, he is going to suck that serum right out of your arm.
I was under no illusions that it was for any interest in my own personal health or anything.
No. Well, how are we not on the same? We're both doctors, and we both are essential in our own way. How
you, Jay, and Jill Biden?
Yes, that's exactly. So now you're dissing on Jill Biden, on the first lady of the United States, soon to be, and you get the vaccine, and President-elect Biden just got the vaccine. Pence got the. I mean, who else is going to get the vaccine before I get the vaccine?
You're not better than Jill Biden. Who's to say that you're better than Jill Biden?
No one.
I'm not.
No one.
But you apparently are.
I'm not better than Jill Biden, but I'm better than you.
Well, you're not going to get my gift, which is the best gift ever. And let me tell you what. And that piece of garbage bag you just pulled out to put your gift in, there better be a syringe.
What I really want to know is, as the first, and I would assume probably only ever guest of the year on this show.
There's no way we make it to December 2021.
I don't see this becoming an annual tradition. Is this a title in name only, or do I get a Sportish mug now, finally?
Well, you would have, but I got bad news about your Sportish mug. Keith's cat knocked it off the table around episode 24.
We had a spare. That could have been a gift. But now she destroyed the Sportish mug. I can't believe you're getting the vaccine and you're just saying it nonchalantly, like the rest of us are dying. This is like in one of those those doomsday movies where like you're pushing us out the door to save yourself in some kind of cave underground, and we're just going to freeze to death with the aliens over. That's what's going to happen. I hope you're in the 5%.
I feel that now we've wished death on us all.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
That it's a great
time. Jay and I are Jewish. This is a minority majority show at this point. Like the two of us are Jewish.
Should we start giving each other gifts now that we've in a roundabout way asked for everyone to die?
So, by the way, Andy Billings would have liked to have been here. He could have also been a guest of the year.
Mm-hmm. But he was in the discussion. John Frankel from HBO's Real Sports in the discussion, shockingly had something better to do. Jack Ford, great friend of the program, did not respond to our calls, texts, or emails, which surprises absolutely no one. So this is what we got. We got Keith Strudler. We got our guest of the year, Jay Friedman, host of the Pain Cave podcast, available wherever you're not listening to this as a podcast, and me. And so the three of us are now going to give each other gifts that one of us put a lot of time into thinking of, and two of us grabbed out of our house and put into the grimiest bag they could find. Mine came out of the cabinet under the sink, which is where, as you grow older, you put your old plastic bags because you won't throw them away. Also in New York, where I live, these things now are gold. are gold.
Oh yeah.
You don't know how many plastic bags you're ever going to get in your life.
All right.
So this should honestly be the gift. The plastic bag should be the gift. It's way more valuable than what's inside.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. The general, why don't we go ahead and go in alphabetical order, right? Do we go alphabetical
last?
You tell me. Let's go. I mean, there's only three of us. There's only three of us. I guess to be honest, it's the same.
Either way, I go first.
It's the same. Isn't that amazing? All right. We're going to go in alphabetical order. Jeff is going to choose first. Now, of course, Jay, you know how White Elephant works. He will pick a gift, and then you will go second. You have the choice to either steal that gift or choose another gift, which by de facto would be the only other person there.
Okay. I got it. So actually, you're going to go third, Keith. You have basically the choice. So you get the two reveals.
All right. Well, there will be one gift left. Correct. There'll be one gift left, will there not be one? Yeah, there'll be one gift because you're not going to open your own gift.
You can't pick your own gift. You can't pick your own gift.
Yep.
Although at this point, I feel like I want to, and so, but then whoever goes just then at the end, I believe, will have the option. That's the way we're going to do it, to steal again, because he never had the option to steal.
Well, unless there's still a gift remaining. I guess
true.
the three there, but I guess
then you have to take that. Then you will have to take that.
Pat brought a gift. Is that how that works?
All right. Let's just do this. I don't know if we got this right. People, tweet at us at Sportish Pod. All right. Who wants to go first? Jay,
we already decided. I'm going first.
We have the order.
All right.
So
pick your gift.
Keith has spent the last 7 days telling me that his gift is the greatest gift in all of mankind. So I pick Keith's gift. I am literally vibrating with excitement.
You don't deserve this.
Come
it's
on, iPod.
Oh my God.
Come on, iPod.
Do you want to keep the paper?
Yes, please unwrap it. Well, because honestly, we have plenty of time left for this segment. Please, we budgeted for 6 people. Please unwrap it slowly.
You're going to love this gift. You are going to love this gift. Oh, it's a shirt. But what kind of shirt is it?
Wow.
It's a Sportish t-shirt.
Oh my gosh.
The only one in existence. Also, what size is that? Is that a 2X?
It's a large. It's a large. They run big. They run husky.
Are you fumigating your house with that after the show?
Look at that. By the way, I had to iron that on. I had to make this. I had to go out and get iron-ons, and I heated up an iron this morning. I almost burned my hand off. Still can't get the vaccine.
That is awesome.
All right. So Keith got me. I now own a shirt with my face on it.
Jay, now you have the option to pick Jeff's gift that he pulled off his shelf, or steal the Sportish shirt.
I mean, I'm very tempted to have what looks to be a small tent with both of your faces on them.
Mm-hmm. You could sleep under it during your next ultra marathon.
That's as close as it's going to come to fitting me, actually. But Keith, as you know, anyone who's done any sort of racing in their life is swimming in t-shirts. So I think I'm going to go with Jeff's.
It's a bad move. That is a bad.
I want to see.
You're going to regret this decision.
Jay, you now are the proud owner of a life-size replica of one of corporate America's greatest pitchmen, Mr. Peanut.
Yes. That is fantastic, because now I know that every one of those figurines I can see on the shelf behind you is now ranked above Mr. Peanut. Now I can only imagine what I'm going to get next year. It looks like maybe Damian Lillard and an M&M, perhaps. But I'm very, very excited to start with Mr. Peanut. This is
now, what you have to remember about Mr. Peanut is he is no longer with us. Mr. Peanut died during last year's Super Bowl. This is now a limited edition.
He died for our sins, our 2020 sins.
Right. And this is not Baby Nut. This is a full-sized
mature
Mr. Peanut. Mr. Peanut.
You think that this isn't going anywhere and that Mr. Peanut is still going to be in your house at the end of this year, but no, sir. That is getting shipped to me.
No, well, this is
not
where
yet,
Michael.
innocent.
This is where Michael. Yeah, not so fast, my friend. There's a shelf that, and I'll tell you what, you'll see that peanut again, but only when you watch Midnight Wednesday on For the Fans, because I'm stealing the peanut.
All right. Well,
You are now. I stole the peanut.
Oh,
Suck
I got
it.
that
You're
shirt?
getting this.
no.
No, that's my gift.
Oh, damn it. Wait. Wait a minute. Oh, so
What does
I'm
that mean? I
stealing the
get mine?
peanut. Oh, no, I can't do it because Jay can't get his own gift. All right. That means I have, because no one did any stealing. In all fairness, there's only 3 of us. So it's really. I'm going to take Jay's gift. Could not have gone worse. I'm now getting Jay's gift, which you told me earlier is not good.
No, it's not good. So,
And all I want is a vaccine. Can you get me on a list? Can you give me an email of someone I could call? Like,
sure. Yeah, you can call someone. Yeah, I'll get you a bunch of numbers. You'll be
right.
set. So
All
your
right.
gift was actually going to be, but I couldn't find it. A picture of you dressed as the Riddler from an alumni race that we ran several years ago.
To be fair, I wasn't the Riddler. I was the Flash. So you were going to give me a picture of someone else. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it would have been a picture of who? Darius or somebody.
Yes,
Anyway,
probably.
Keith, I know you're a big fan of the movie Airplane and most other great comedy films.
Huge.
And you will remember the famous joke from Airplane where the passenger asks for some light reading and is given a pamphlet of great Jewish athletes. Keith, I have the great Jewish athletes reading collection here for you. We have.
Wait a minute. I know. Hold on. Stop.
Wait a minute.
Oh, he
You
owns
gifted him
that.
something
Oh,
from the set.
I have this book already. It's on the set.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Not a problem. Not a problem. And to be fair, this could have gone to Jeff. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But you're
Wouldn't it be? What a joke would it be if I went to my bookshelf and took off a copy of Jewish Jocks?
But Keith, I'm going to posit to you that your collection of Jewish sports-related hero literature is not complete until you have read and own a copy of Designated Hebrew, the Ron Bloomberg story. Ron Bloomberg, as every great Yankees fan knows, the first designated hitter in baseball history in 1957 broke the barrier, the stranglehold that pitchers who batted for themselves held on our great game, thus ruining it forever. Also Jewish. So there you go.
So I'm going to take half of the award. I should take the other book and throw it out just to spite everyone. Well, that seems
Here's an important question. Has the book Jewish Jocks ever received more publicity than the last 3 minutes?
It's climbing the charts on Amazon. It's skyrocketing.
All right. I mean, unfortunately, we're too late for Hanukkah at this point.
I will say Jewish Jocks, not a bad read.
You know, to be fair, I actually haven't read it. It's just sitting on the shelf. That's true for 90% of the things on my bookshelves. Honestly, I'll subscribe to The Economist just for like a paperweight. It looks good. So
when I had you on my show, I think the book behind you was the pictorial interpretation of the Penguin. So,
well, you said what would be the one book I would take on a deserted island, and the only thing I could think of was the book behind me on the shelf, and it was the picture book of March of the Penguins. Which, to be fair, I've thought about it now for a while. It's still what I'd go with, 100%.
Well,
fortunately, now you got options.
Wait until you read Designated Hebrew; it may change your mind.
All right.
Boy, that went great.
Yeah, I think I knocked my camera off too, so I'm getting a bad angle. So,
all right. So we all agree that Mr. Peanut was the best gift, right? Everybody agrees that Mr. Peanut was the best.
Can we at least I'm going to straighten my camera for everyone. So can we at least now go do the run through of what everyone got? All right. So
yeah,
Jeff, you have.
I have a Sportish T-shirt.
It's great. That's great.
And Jay has.
I have a Mr. Peanut. He's going to go right next to my Mr. Potato Head version of Darth Vader called Darth Tater. So they're going on the shelf next to each other.
And I now have the matching, the complimentary piece, the yin to the yang of Jewish Jocks, I now have designated Hebrew, which will of course be part of my 2021 read. I'm assuming available on Kindle as well. Well, this went exactly as I thought it might.
Exactly as planned. Would you like to know an unbelievable fact? I don't know how I got this. I have no idea.
You wake up in Tijuana and be like,
I have no idea how this came into my possession. I have zero recollection of ever getting this. And I like to think that if you are ever in a position to receive a Mr. Peanut statue, and by the way, he bobbles. This is a bobbling Peanut. I like to think you'd remember how you got it. I don't know where this came from. So if anyone out there has ever seen one of these before, like, let me know how you got it, and maybe that'll jog my memory.
Maybe one of your college roommates remembers something about it.
I don't know, but I'm glad I have it. I mean, is there a more iconic pitchman than Mr. Peanut?
Than Mr. Peanut? Oh, is there a more iconic pitchman than Mr.
The Energizer
Peanut?
Bunny.
No, that's not bad. It's not a bad one.
An Energizer Bunny?
I wouldn't know, but it's.
I didn't say I'd rather have one. I'm just saying more iconic.
How about Max Headroom from New Coke?
No, he's got a monocle. A monocle.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the guy from Monopoly has a monocle too, but you don't hear me crying about it.
And you appreciate this. Mr. Peanut has his name on his hat.
Oh, I do like that. Like that.
That's branding.
Just in case you see this and you go, who is that?
Is that an almond? What is that?
It's on that.
What is that, a cashew?
All right.
I think we've milked this for almost all it's worth.
Planters, give us a call. Good ad space is still available. I'm partial to the honey roasted if you want to send.
Can we wrap this? And I don't think Mike Wallace is going to join us. And that was his job then to collect the addresses, but I guess I can handle this on my end.
Jay, well, I mean, maybe I shouldn't break down the fourth wall. I'm not giving this up.
No.
Then I'm stealing it back. I'm stealing it back. That is my right as the person who went first. I'm stealing it back.
But now, to be fair, you can steal it back, which leaves Jay stuck with his own book. No,
Jay gets the t-shirt, which is what he should have.
Jay gets the t-shirt.
All right, I'll take the shirt.
All right. Well, you got to wear the shirt. Yeah, we didn't actually close the loop here. You had to finish this because you went first.
Oh, I thought it was a joke, and then you started talking about addresses.
So wait. So the way this works is you invite me on, you bestow me with this great honor, and now you're going to renege on your gift, and I have to wear a comically oversized shirt.
Yes. Yes.
Sounds about right.
The honor is real. The peanut is not.
You get a Sportish. You know how long I spent working on this?
And
I can only imagine.
I understand that there's only you have a small window of time in which you get the vaccine. Please see if you can delay getting the vaccine until you can get it in the Sportish t-shirt.
I want you to wear this on one of your next party runs up in the gunks, and everyone will see my face and be like, "Hey, is that Strudler?" Like, go ahead. You'll get some comments. Wear it around.
All right. Okay.
Jay.
There is a second dose of the vaccine, as you guys well know. If that shirt is in my possession by that time, I will take a picture of myself getting vaccinated in that ridiculous looking shirt.
I thought you were going to give me the second dose.
This is the next best thing. This is as close as you're getting.
That's true. I'll take it. We'll take it. We will take the picture of the vaccine with the shirt. I think that works for everyone. It's a win-win.
All right. Jay Friedman. He's our guest of the year. You can find his podcast called The Pain Cave, wherever podcasts are sold. Enjoy that shirt.
Thanks, guys. This was fun. Stay safe. Happy New Year, etc.
Happy New Year. Oh, scary moment there at the end of the White Elephant gift exchange. That got very real to me all of a sudden. I don't know if you noticed when, I thought that we were just doing this all for fun, for laughs. And you started talking about exchanging addresses. If I didn't remember that as the person who went first, I could steal back at the end. I almost would have had to part with his beauty.
It was a little selfish of you to put something up in the White Elephant that you were not ready to part ways with. This is why you should have gone out and done what you were supposed to do and bought a gift. That's how White Elephants work. Because you play with Fire Scarecrow, you might get burned. So you put something on the line. This is why you don't take your wedding ring to a pawn shop.
I would take my
Newsflash.
wedding ring to a pawn shop if necessary. I feel like, that money could do a lot of good in the world.
By the way, we're literally now talking about the episode of a Magnum from like 2 weeks ago, but I digress.
Okay. Speaking of nice things that we can't have, the Jets won a game, which means that as they sit right now, upon this airing, they are no longer the front runners for the services of Trevor Lawrence, the presumptive number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Keith, that's it could be a very costly win for the Jets last weekend.
Boy, and yes. And it raises kind of this age-old question of should you lose to procure talent, right? And that's always been kind of the fear and adage of the NBA, so much so that they had to change the way that they're giving out the picks. You can make the argument, and it's not a difficult argument to make. It's different in the NBA because a singular player can be transformative, right? If you are, for Zion or for LeBron or some of these players where you're like, this could be of course, we call everyone generational, but this could be someone that could really change the trajectory of your team. It seems almost worth it. It's not particularly. Now, I don't know if that's true in the NFL, although John Elway did seem to suggest that it might be if you go back far enough. I do think it's very hard for the players or the coaches to think that way. That said, if Trevor Lawrence ends up with the Jacksonville Jaguars, probably a place he'd rather be because he can now just rent a U-Haul and go right from Clemson to Jacksonville and pay a lot lower taxes than having to find an apartment in New York City at this point.
What does it say about the state of the New York Jets that you can make an argument that Trevor Lawrence is breathing a sigh of relief that he will get to spend the majority of his 20s as a millionaire in Jacksonville?
By the way, no offense to Jacksonville. I spent a lot of time in Florida. I hate that town.
Offense to Jacksonville. It's one of the worst places I've ever been. Offense to Jacksonville.
Florida, you're up. As we barnstorm around the country offending.
We promised that we would offend someone from every state before this show went off the air. It is Florida's time. To be fair, we're going to offend Florida far more than most states.
Well, Jacksonville's never been, very much the armpit of the state, many might suggest. So, although Pensacola gives it a run for the money, but I'm not a big fan of Jacksonville. The only thing I liked about that is there was an airport that I could drive to from Gainesville. So it does say a lot. Look, it says a lot about New York, but it says a lot about sports leagues in general, that it is you got to get really bad and then before you can get really good. And we'll see if Trevor Lawrence is all that. I've seen some awkward interviews though with Sam, who's the current quarterback?
Sam Darnold.
That's an awkward interview where he has to explain if he's happy that they won.
All right. That's all the time we have for this episode of Sportish. Just one more left in 2020. For Mike Wallace and Keith Strudler, I'm Geoff Brault. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening to Sportish. See you next time.